Welcome to Market Advantage, Professional Perspectives on Accounting. My name is Scott Showalter. I'm the director of the Masters of Accounting program. Today, we're very fortunate to be joined with Tom Hood. Tom is with the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. That is a long name, and I'm sure as we get into it, you may not recognize that name, but you will later on as goes in. So let's just jump into the questions today, Tom. So you have served in a variety of roles in your career. Can you provide just a brief summary of your career experiences today?
Yeah, first of all, it's an honor to be on the show with you here, Scott. And obviously, I get to see you on our board of directors as well. My background is I started out, I had to go to night school. So I went to Loyola University in Maryland, worked during the day as an accountant in a finance company for the 4 years I was in night school, came out and then went and got a job in the printing industry. And then that led to a global architecture firm where the CFO there encouraged me to pass the CPA exam, which I did, and then become active in the Maryland Association of CPAs and the AICPA, which I think were basically very influential on the rest of my career. But after a few years in that role, I was recruited to become a CFO of a regional highway construction company where as I like to say, I was in charge of everything except sales and operations. The only thing I didn't do was lay asphalt. But that's where I learned a whole lot about IT, HR, even community relations. And through that time, I became active in the Maryland Association on the board of directors, became the volunteer chair of the association, which then led to actually a job at the MACPA when that executive director, Barbara Zorn, retired, and they said, wow, you've got a lot of the skills we need. Would you put your name in the hat in a national search? And I did that until Barry Melanson recruited me about 3.5 years ago to move up to the AICPA and CIMA. And that's where I am at right now.
Well, great. I love that career. It tells people the variety of different pathways that you can get in accounting and what is opening up. Okay. You mentioned you are currently working at the AICPA. Accounting is a global profession, and the role of the AICPA has evolved very much over the years. In 2 minutes or less, because I'm trying to confine you a little bit, because it could take all day, please describe your role in the AICPA today in this global accounting profession.
So my role is the Executive Vice President of Business Growth and Engagement, and I was brought on board to really open up and stimulate the work we do with CPAs who are like me in my past in the corporate finance and accounting function. And obviously AICPA serves all CPAs, but when we merged with CIMA about 12 years ago, that brought this big focus on management accounting. And my job is to basically break into the management accounting role in the Americas, North, South, and Central America, starting with the US first. So that's my primary responsibility. Then about a year ago, when the COO left, they split up that job and I became in charge of what we call global business-to-business sales to major employers, if you will, and then in charge of our association strategy. So that's what I do as of today.
Well, good. Your focus at the AICPA is leading the Americas region, as you said, North, South, and Central America as part of the AICPA CIMA global focus on the CGMA. What challenges do you see facing the professions in the business industry today? Because that is your primary area of focus. So what do you see those challenges?
Correct. Well, I mean, not too long ago, I came to NC State for your CPE program and got to poll your audience, which you're doing an incredible job there. And that was obviously a mixture of what we would call public accounting and management accounting. But the exciting thing is we've always done a degree of serving the whole profession, but with the advent of CIMA, we have a whole lot more resources where we're working on management accounting because they're all over the world now. So now we've got that, advantage of having that kind of research from all over the globe. And we're finding that a lot of the same issues. So the big issues that I think were verified with your crew there was acceleration of digital transformation. This is in the corporate finance and accounting function, AI and Gen AI, the need for new skills, emphasis on new, by the way, finding and retaining talent, obviously an age-old issue, and then maintaining culture in a hybrid work environment. Those were the top 5.
Great. And as you mentioned, you were here at the summit that we had in the fall. And one of the things you talked about was Finance 2.0. Can you really provide a summary of what does that mean anyway, with Finance 2.0?
Well, this is part of what the advantage of us being global and merging with AICPA, if you will, is that we now have lots of research about what's happening to the finance function. And so that's what Finance 2.0 is, a series of our research. And then we expose that to members, like we did at your forum all around the globe, and get, what do they think about it? So it really gets to this notion of a shift from what I would call transactional finance to this notion of a dynamic, strategic, technology-driven finance that ends up powering operational growth and resilience. And I think at its core, I think there's basically 5 pieces there, right? One would be value creation. So at the core, Finance 2.0 emphasizes creating value rather than just reporting it. And this aligns finance and accounting with the broader business strategies, driving decision-making and helping organizations navigate complexity and ambiguity. Second would be technology integration. With advancements in AI, automation, and real-time analytics, Finance 2.0 leverages those tools to streamline processes, enhance forecasting, and provide insights that look forward instead of just in hindsight. Number 3 would be talent evolution. Finance professionals in Finance 2.0 are not just number crunchers, they're storytellers, collaborators, and change leaders. Upskilling in areas like data literacy, ESG, and strategic thinking is paramount. Fourth would be the broader impact. Finance 2.0 goes beyond just the organization. It actually influences society through efforts like sustainability, diversity, and governance. Finance ultimately drives trust and prosperity on a global scale. And then finally, number 5 would be new roles and mindsets. The role of finance leaders has evolved into that of chief value officers, emphasizing strategy, leadership, and innovation over compliance or routine tasks, which are all getting automated. So that's how we look at this idea of Finance 2.0.
Great. Most people, when they think about the AICPA, think about the CPA part of that. But what you're really talking about in the finance is more on the managerial side of that. Can you please describe how the AICPA is actually helping prepare accounting professionals for this opportunity?
Yeah, it's funny because when they first merged, I was still at the Maryland Association of CPAs, and I was just so excited because now we had these management accounting resources, which were basically the whole highlight of my whole career. I was never in public accounting. So having those extra resources, which really come in through the AICPA side. So my job is to move the CGMA, Chartered Global Management Accountant. And I would argue right now, Scott, that the gold standard would be the CPA and the CGMA. Now, CGMA can help upskill general finance and accounting people, but it can also upskill CPAs, the strategic part of the finance leadership program, which is how you get the CGMA, actually has no accounting in it, right? It's all digital strategy, risk analysis, and corporate finance and accounting strategy, which goes way beyond just the accounting, if you will. And so I think that part, in addition to a whole lot of learning opportunities, we're building out curriculums for corporates and for our members in corporate finance every day to help prepare them for this new Finance 2.0 role, as well as making them stay relevant in this really rapidly changing world we're in.
Going off a little script on here, but I know you can talk about it. You didn't mention anything about the apprentice program. I know that's something you're very, very passionate about. Would you spend just a minute talk about how that is being handled or rolled out in the U.S.?
Yeah, so it's funny because if you think about the global profession, our sister in the UK under AICPA were one of the first to have a finance and accounting apprenticeship for corporate finance in the UK. It's the same exact structure, if you will, using the CGMA Finance Leadership Program to get to that finance business partner idea. It's just the apprenticeships work differently. So we filed with the US Department of Labor about 3.5 years ago when I first joined, and became the very first apprenticeship registered with the U.S. Department of Labor. We registered in Maryland. Now we're registered in Florida and California. So we're basically doing a kind of moving from state to state where we see a lot of resources. But that program actually has even a junior college level that can bring people in as young as high school, where they begin to earn and learn under this curriculum, and they ultimately get some college credit as well as getting our credential. And it opens up pathways to basically people that are often underprivileged and don't have access to really good careers, like there are in finance and accounting. So we believe this is widening, if you will, the aperture for the workforce for accounting and finance. So that CPA is always one great pathway, but now you also have another pathway that includes CGMA, could lead to CPA and ultimately CGMA, or just move up the finance track to CGMA. So we just finished our third apprenticeship week celebration and honoring some of our recent grads, but it's a very exciting program and the first of its kind for finance and accounting in the United States.
I knew it would. I knew you had passion about that, so I wanted to give you some airtime about that. And
I appreciate that.
It helps, as you know, read so much about the shortage of accounting folks. So it's just another pathway to be able to help fill that really need. And just taking a kind of a turn into your personal life here. What do you do in your spare time when you're not helping all these accounting professionals around the world to be successful? There must be something that you do that is interesting.
Yeah, probably the thing that most people would necessarily not know or believe is one of the most fun things I get to do is I volunteer to help my wife, who runs a school program. Actually, it's from my old alma mater, McDonough School in Baltimore County. She runs the Roots Farm there, and it's a 10-acre farm with a culinary program that teaches K through 12th grade about the science of agriculture, and planning, harvesting, and cooking. And as with any working farm, they always need help, right? So I'm the farmhand on the weekend, so I'm often helping them harvest or cook or plant. And I also help with, she's got like 20 hens that lay eggs and about 8 turkeys that are part of an endangered species that's really there for show. They all got pardoned for Thanksgiving, but I'm often there working around the farm with her during the weekend, and that's just a lot of fun.
Sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like a good way to let off steam and do some other things with that. Okay.
Keeps me very grounded, Scott.
Absolutely. I totally understand that.
You're cleaning out the chicken coop. There's like, that's real.
That's a real humbling experience, but gets you grounded on why you do what you do.
Exactly.
Just to sort of wrap up our time today, do you have any final comments you'd like to share with our audience? Maybe about the future, about challenges, anything else that comes to mind?
I think, Scott, I think we're entering a very exciting time for our profession. This movement to value creation, and I think it's true for public accounting as well as it is for management accounting, but the opportunities for us in this age of artificial intelligence, right? Everyone thinks AI is going to take away our jobs. That's not true. Just like spreadsheets and calculators, there was an article way back then that said if that's going to be the elimination of accounting. In fact, accounting prospered after that. And I think AI is going to do the same thing. Now, I would say to our listeners in your podcast here, it's going to be accountants with AI who might take the jobs of accountants without AI. So I would say keep learning, keep growing, and start looking at this new opportunity to really move from that transactional finance job to a much more strategic finance and accounting job. And the careers will never be better. So that's what I would say to that. And it's exciting to see you running this podcast and spreading more and more knowledge around this profession.
Great. Well, Tom, that's really good because that's consistent with why we're doing this, because this is a focus on lifelong learning, which you just talked about. That's the thing about when you join the accounting profession, you're basically signing on for lifelong learning, which I think is why the fun of being a part of this accounting profession. So Tom, I'd like to thank you for joining us today for this Mac Advantage Professional Perspectives in Accounting. And thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you again.
Awesome, Scott. Thank you. And good luck with the show. Thanks for having me on here.